Call me Ecclesias Mdima. I'm a reproductive consultant, I'm a researcher, I'm a nurse, I'm a midwife, and also your servant. Today we are going to see what we call primary, secondary, even tertiary infertility. Grosso modo, what we are going to see today is what we call infertility. Infertility is what have been disturbing a lot of women. A lot of women are unable to conceive. About 10% of the population of women are unable to conceive. They are unable to have their kids, their own child, their own biological child, naturally. I don't want to go into the artificial way of facilitating conception, like the in vitro fertilization, the artificial insemination, and so on and so forth. But what we are basing today is on infertility, primary, secondary infertility. Now, what do you think infertility is? Is infertility unable to conceive at all? Or is infertility unable to maintain a child to term? Those are questions that many students, many health personnel, many nurses, many reproductive health students face. But today we are going to demystify all those diverse school of thought. But before we dive into the subject matter, permit me to introduce myself to you. I am Dima Ecclesias. I'm a reproductive consultant based in Central Africa, specifically in Cameroon. What can be the causes of infertility? But before we even go to the causes, we need to start with what we call the division of infertility. Before we even go to the division of infertility, we need to know what is, first of all, infertility. Infertility is the ability to conceive naturally. It's the inability to conceive naturally. That is what we call infertility. Is inability to conceive naturally or to impregnate a woman naturally. But today we'll be basing more on female pattern infertility. In our next video, we go for male pattern infertility. Female pattern infertility is divided into two: primary infertility and secondary infertility. Primary infertility is when a woman has never conceived. That is what we call primary infertility. When a woman is unable to conceive, we term it as primary infertility. And it's very important to have in mind that primary infertility is very, very complicated to manage than secondary infertility. What can be the causes of primary infertility? Primary infertility can be caused by congenital factors like congenital malformation of the womb or poor formation of the ovaries, the tubes, even the vagina, or any facet of the reproductive system. That is what can cause primary infertility. It can even be caused by hormonal. It can also be caused by hormonal imbalance. The hormones that are responsible for a proper menstrual cycle and reproductive cycle, when they are deficient, when they are not produced very well, when they are not developed enough, infertility primary infertility can come into play. So that is what you need to know about. It can be congenital source. It can source from congenital factor. It can be due to the mother taking some teratogenic drugs when the baby was still, the female child fetus was still inside the uterus, that deform the system as a whole, the reproductive system as a whole. So it can be hormonal source, it can be congenital source, it can be physical source, like you deliver a child without a womb. It can be due to even physical barrier. You deliver a female child with this with the cervix sealed. So that is part, in a larger aspect, that's part of a congenital malformation. Yeah. So those are some of the causes of primary infertility. Now, talking about secondary infertility. Secondary infertility is when a woman has conceived before, has gotten pregnant before, but due to one reason or the other, which with the risk factor or the cause, the woman is unable to conceive again. That is what you need to know about secondary infertility. Secondary means if the person was conceiving before or conceived before, and all of a sudden the person is not able to conceive, which she hasn't reached the age of menopause, which ranges from 45 years of age to 55 years of age. So that is what you need to, because those are some of the facets that you need to be considering before terming somebody as secondarily infertile. So that's what you need to know. Okay, now diving into the causes of or the risk factors of secondary infertility. It can be due to infection like chlamydia, can be due to hormonal changes, can be due to fibroids, can be due to polycystic ovarian syndrome, it can be due to endometriosis, it can be due to adenomyosis, can be due to many pathologies. So those are some of the causes or predisposing factors. Can be due to bad habits like smoking excessively and so on. Now, another thing that you need to know is that how can you diagnose infertility? Primary infertility, you need to do imagery to check whether the womb is there. You need to do hormonal tests. You need to do even clinical diagnosis. You observe, examine the vagina, whether there is a blockage anywhere at the level of the tube. You do you do an imagery test that is used to examine the tubes and see whether the tubes are blocked, because blockage of tube can be congenital. Yeah, so you need to do that, the test, and